sharing the truth one fact at a time. This is the Free America Radio Network.
From behind enemy lines in FEMA Region 9, in the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada, you're listening to The Views Express Live. Hey, folks. Hey, I know I said I was going to be live. I know. Don't throw stuff at your computer screen. Certain things came up. Things that just can't be avoided. And, of course, I have to take care of those. Now, let me remind you that I've said in previous broadcasts, Free America Radio Network and The Views Express Live and The Wayne S. Pierce Show and all of that are going to be scaling back just a bit. Now, for the past 4 or 5 years, about 4 years now, actually, I have been doing a daily radio broadcast, okay? So that's still going to be, there. But, like I said, scaling back just a bit. Not going to go overboard, still going to present you with everything that I see and give you my opinions and all that. But just scaling back a bit. Now, you can be a part of the growing Free America Radio Network. Now, how can you do that? You can donate if you like. You can sponsor the show if you like. You can do both of those by going to freeamericaradio.us. Go down to the bottom of the screen if you want to donate. There's a donate button there. You can go to sponsors page and sponsor the show if you would like. And that would help a great deal if you could do that. And, of course, that helps Free America Radio Network get to the next level as far as more opportunities and being able to support the opportunities to go out and interview people and, go out and do a typical man-on-the-street type of situation and really go to different locations and things like that. Now, you can be a part of that. Excuse me, got a little something going on there. Now, coming back from vacation, I've seen a lot. I know what has been going on. I've heard the news. Whether or not it was deliberate as far as this Ebola virus or whatever, or I've seen different things of current situations going on that have what is known to be crisis actors in them. I don't know. I don't have verification of any of those things at this point. And it is very frustrating not to get the right answers from the people that, or from the sources that or, that you seem to think you can trust. And you can read 2 different stories in 3 different sources and, that kind of thing. It just gets so convoluted, so confusing. You sit back going, okay, who's right and who's wrong? Who's more accurate? Who's more truthful? Who's honest, And that's the thing that we have to put up with in the alternative independent media. Now, even in the alternative media, the independent media, we got people backbiting, stabbing each other in the back, trying to be the big boss on campus, that kind of thing. That's not going to fly in the defense of the United States of America against the invasion of just illegal people being here. We have laws, okay? And up on Free America Radio Network, you see a video that was done today or at one point where a truck driver went through a checkpoint. And you have to see the video. This is completely true. This Border Patrol agent just literally opened his mouth, and you will not be surprised what comes out of it. Okay, so it's a video up on Free America Radio on Facebook from toprightnews.com. There's more there on Free America Radio on Facebook. Vladimir Putin exposes the NWO worth every single minute of your time. That's from theeventchronicle.com. Also, New York Department of Homeland Security will pay you $500 to rat out fellow citizens buying legal goods. Yeah, you might want to check that one out too. News crews booted from filming outside empty prison. Now people are wondering what's going on there. And this is from Albany, New York, the capital of New York. It's from theblaze.com. From theblaze.com as well, Virginia officials will get millions of dollars in bonuses under House-Senate agreement. There you go. Also, theblaze.com, IRS. Is that up to their tricks again? They've been caught with their hand in the cookie jar and Lois Lerner and all that kind of crap. Now listen to this. From theblaze.com, is the IRS planning to crack down on pastors and churches? Yeah. TheNewAmerican.com says in Latin America, Russia and China push New World Order. Isn't that wonderful? From TheMinorityReportBlog.com, Weekend Must Read, 10 Reasons Why this person here says, I'm no longer a leftist. Excuse me. From TucsonNewsNow.com, U.S. Senator from Arizona introduced CREST Act addressing border crisis. I probably read that to you a couple of weeks ago, but it's good to highlight it and give you a new perspective on what's going on. Also, there's a video from Informed Planet, Agenda 21 and the depopulation agenda for a new world order. And it says here also in conservativetribune.com, breaking movement to ban the Muslim Brotherhood explodes in Congress. Now, I know I passed the 5-minute mark, and I usually take a break and come back, but I'm going to go at the 20-minute mark, so hang in there. It's going to be an abbreviated show, so I got a lot to go through, and we're going to get through it all. But before I get into those articles, I want to give you a heads up. There's so much stuff going on in Nevada that on my vacation, I went to California, went to San Francisco, and I'm looking and I'm watching and I'm just, checking out all these people and I'm seeing this whole, I'm seeing a bunch of zombies. Maybe not all of them. Maybe some of them were, well aware. And, of course, riding the subway out there, riding the BART, the Bay Area Rapid Transit, I heard some people, overhearing people stating, they were talking about how the government is doing this and doing that, and they don't like it, So people are aware of what's going on. They just don't want to do anything, or they seem to think that they can't do anything. As we were walking around and stuff, we saw a lot of shops. Went to Chinatown. We were walking through there, saw a lot of things going on, and just merchant after merchant after merchant. Things were, just everyday things going on. People running their businesses, people going in, people getting coffee, donuts, Subway, this kind of, sandwiches, fast food, that kind of thing. We went to Westfield Shopping Center, Westfield Center, and there on Market Street, and we went in there, walked around there for an hour or so, and we just saw a complete and utter. I saw this idea that materialism was the way to go. Now, of course, San Francisco being expensive, being part of what is called Silicon Valley, or one of the, portions of it anyway, we know that the more money you make, the more money you're going to spend. I mean, that's just the way it is. And we see this there. Now, we also saw poor people. We also saw transients on the streets. We also saw, on the last day we were there, we saw, people out by Embarcadero and over by, the wharf there, the piers and all that. And we saw a bunch of people out in on tables, and they were, selling their wares, their art, purses, jewelry, all handmade stuff, right? Mostly all handmade. We saw some other things, paintings, books, and this kind of thing. And I'm thinking to myself, people know how to take care of themselves. People know how, they have the resources to do this. They obviously take the time to put these paintings together, to put this jewelry together, to go out either every day or on the weekends in this plaza, and they sell their wares. And I'm thinking to myself, if people are that dedicated to make a living, why aren't more places hiring people with these types of experiences? Well, I know why. And most of these people want to work for themselves. Most of these people don't want to have a boss. Most people are either too old or don't want to have anyone being a boss over them, right? So I'm seeing these people, these entrepreneurs, these people out there doing what they're doing, and I'm thinking to myself, aren't businesses wanting to hire people who are this creative and this resourceful? And I'm thinking to myself also that day was, how long would it take for a person, if they wanted to go from to take the experiences they have in creating their own business, their own little world right there in that area, in that plaza, selling what they sell. How much effort would it take for a business to hire somebody that resourceful and creative? But then again, on the other side of that coin, do people really want to go from owning their own business to working for somebody else? No, that's why they're in business for themselves. We've seen a lot in San Francisco, and I love the city. I mean, as a kid, I used to go there a lot. As a teenager, I used to go there a lot. And I got to tell you, I mean, it's a really, really good city. It's a very, very good city. And when we were leaving, I thought to myself, being the artist and being the person with, I've got theater background, I've got, merchandising background. For me, I'd fit right into that city. It's just getting out there and doing it on my own, or getting other, 2, 3, 4 other people with me to create something. We went through this on the Pier 39, on the wharf area, and out there's this new business, or fairly new anyway, and it's called San Francisco Dungeon. San Francisco Dungeon, okay? And what it is, it's live actors acting, as you would see on stage, telling you the history of San Francisco from prior to 1776 on up to 1907. And it is the most incredible experience I had in a long, long time. Because coming from a theater background, I know what it takes to put something like that together. And this is like 9 different areas of this San Francisco, dungeon with 9 different actors. I'm sure the same actors aren't there every, time somebody goes through, but it's a lot to put together. And I'm thinking to myself, as we were leaving, I can get 4 or 5 people together and we can do something like that in theater. We can, be in character, and welcome people to the theater, and this is what we do, and, and go from there. And that's resourceful. That's creative. So why wouldn't somebody, if I wanted to work in a store somewhere, let's say Target or Walmart, why shouldn't somebody hire me with that type of resource, with that much creativity? I know why. The bottom line. Money. How much am I going to charge them? How much do I expect in a salary? Well, I expect to make a living wage. But I'll consider a little bit lower than that. Well, what's a living wage? Okay. And besides, Walmart making as much as they do, they can pay their people a living wage. I don't think $15 an hour for everybody in the store is anything outrageous. Okay. I really don't. For middle management or supervisors, I don't think $17 or $17.25 is extraordinary. I really don't. Because with that kind of money, they can go out and buy their own health insurance. Screw Walmart. You know, forget their health plans. Go out and buy your own. Why not? But there's a whole sophisticated, complicated thing behind the scenes that works against the worker and works in favor of the corporations. So there's that whole thing going on. But coming back from San Francisco, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, so many people are creative. I mean, there was a guy we saw on the wharf, or on the piers that we were down there. We went and ate at one of the restaurants down there, and we saw this guy, and he painted himself up, one side gold, one side silver, and he was standing on a milk crate, and he was dancing, or he was frozen as a statue. And when people came by, he moved a little bit, and people, so he did all that, and he was performing. And I'm thinking to myself, this guy's probably out there maybe 3-4 hours a day, and possibly longer, and he'll get tips, and he'll get, whatever, and take pictures, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of like a 4-hour period, he may look at that and go, okay, I have enough today. He gauges his day by how many tips he gets. Okay, yes, I did enough today. It's not, I'm just going to be out here an hour and see what I can do. No, he goes out there and, okay, I've made enough today. There was some Chinese people sitting on some of the corners in some of the areas. There were like 3 or 4 of them I've seen that play music on this little one-stringed instrument. I don't know what it's called. But they had a can out there for tips. Of course, you get the transients in front of fast food joints that want money and try to keep you from going in there, and that kind of thing. But, it's just incredible. And what is it about people, businesses, bosses, owners of companies, that cannot look at people that are creative and resourceful and not want to hire them? What is it with them? What goes through their head? It's like, oh my God, that person's, no. I had one person tell me, a former, somebody who I used to work with and stuff like that, and they said something that made sense to me. It's like, well, the bosses don't want to pay you anymore and don't want to, enable your ambition. My friend didn't say that, but I know what he meant. They don't want to enable your ambition to take their job because, hey, it's like, why want to take the boss's job? I mean, that's his job. But, but why don't businesses hire people who are that creative and that resourceful? If they're out on the weekends, making jewelry during the week, out, when they get home from work and all this, and go out on the weekends and try to sell it, why doesn't a boss want to promote that person or want to hire somebody like that? It's like organizational skills are a plus in a business. Why wouldn't a business want to hire you? Here in Nevada, in Reno, Nevada specifically, you don't want to go to any of the casinos. I don't care, around the country. It doesn't matter. You don't want to go to any of those casinos because, number one, they have at-will employment policies, which, of course, if they don't like the way you look, way you operate, way you do business, they'll fire you on the spot. They don't care. They don't have to have a reason. And that's a violation of our civil rights, period. I want an attorney to tell me why it isn't, but I know it is. And, you've got these casinos that are fascist, dictatorial pieces of crap that don't give a crap about you as a person, because if you got a kid that's sick, you're going to go to your boss. If somebody calls you up from school, or your wife or your husband calls them, oh, kid's sick. Hey, well, now you got to go to your boss and say, hey, my kid's sick. I got to go and take care of it. Well, your boss ain't going to let you go. He's basically, or he or she's going to basically tell you, well, if you go now, don't bother coming back. You know what I mean? So that right there is a total violation of all common sense anyway. I don't know about any laws that are being broken, but there you go. But anyway, yeah, on and on and on. I'm rambling. Sorry. Take a little break. I'll be right back. This is the Views Express podcast. Sorry, my apologies for not being live. Okay, I'm sorry. Just a lot of stuff came up, and I had to put this podcast together. So I shall. Just stay tuned. I got more coming up. I'm going to get through some of these articles if I can, so I'll be right back after this. You're listening to The Views Expressed right here on the Free America Radio Network. The world as we know it is changing. We must speak out against the tyranny in our country. Stand up. Speak out. Get involved. Live Truth Radio. The reality underneath the honesty. LiveTruthRadio.com. The Wayne S. Pierce Show on the Free America Radio Network. Go to thewaynespearceshow.weebly.com for more information. And catch the Wayne S. Pierce Show Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 12 noon Pacific, 3 Eastern on the Free America Radio Network.
Time to take our republic back, folks. Brian Bonner, the uncooperative radio show host, will tell you how. Join us for the ride of your life. Using humor and the facts, we will expose the news that the lamestream media refuses to report. The Constitution is the solution, and we can prove it. Listen in and find out what it means to be an uncooperative citizen of these United States. You can find our show at uncooperativerradio.com, and we are rebroadcast on redstatetalkradio.com.
Sharing the truth one fact at a time. This is the Free America Radio Network.
Hey, folks, this is the Free America Radio Network, and this is the 4th of August, 2014, and my apologies for not being live, okay? It's an abbreviated show today, so I just wanted to make you aware that some things came up. I could not avoid them, and I'm taking this few minutes here to... I'm taking... I'm abbreviating this show for a reason. Let's put it that way. Anyway... The whole issue about what I was talking about the last segment was the fact that, you know, you can do something. And businesses have to understand that the only way that they're ever going to succeed is not, is to get rid of their at-will employment policies. That's number one. Number two, hire people full-time. And number three, pay them a living wage. That's the only way they're going to succeed. And they're going to argue, well, how am I going to make a profit and still be able to pay people? Well, the profit goes in your pocket, and you should have a line of credit in your business to pay people. Okay. And you should have a good enough product or service that will be able to do that. And if you don't have confidence in your business, what are you doing in business? And the other thing I want to summarize is all these casinos and all these other places that have at-will employment policies, or even in right-to-work states, you need to totally and absolutely start suing these people into the ground, because they absolutely are in violation of our civil rights, period. Go look at the Taft-Hartley Act. Go look at the right-to-work state definition, and it'll say literally, basically boils down to you have a right whether or not you want to. You have a choice whether or not you want to join a union or not. Well, no, that's not it. A right-to-work state. Go back when it was instituted, when it was thought up, when it was conceived, and you will see that it was entirely focused on destroying unions, period, end of sentence. Right-to-work states destroy unions. I don't give a crap what you're going to say, you liberal freaking morons. You're wrong. A right-to-work state under the policies of Woodrow Wilson, not Woodrow Wilson, who's the other president? William H. Taft. He wanted to destroy unions because he was, ironically enough, he ran on I don't know what he was really, but he was literally in himself a socialist. Okay. Woodrow Wilson was a progressive and William Taft was a socialist. Kind of ironic that he didn't want to have unions, considering the fact that some socialists, some, not all, want unions. Okay, kind of an odd little, ironic little twist in that in that concept. But President William H. Taft, began to discuss right-to-work states. They're there to destroy unions. Period. End of sentence. Don't give me this crap at all that it gives you a choice whether or not you want to join one. No, go back at the inception when everything was put together to be brought to the boards of this theater we call the United States of America, and it was there to break unions. That's all it was. Why do you think when the unions began to become stronger with people, why do you think the recruitment of those unions was being pushed to acquire more people? Because these unions were fighting back. Okay? They got co-opted later on, probably about 10 years after, or 10 or 15 years after they started really showing some power. They got co-opted, but now it's all corrupt. And you saw that programming within these union officials and these union members through, well, back then, organized crime. The mafias of that time that have been here, they've been in America since the mid-1800s. I can tell you that. So, I mean, everything that we do is for a purpose. You and I defend this nation, defend our quality of life and our freedoms, and we want to be free people. But the establishment up in Washington, D.C., and the corporations that run Washington, D.C., don't want us to be free and don't want us to be resourceful or creative or to have our own businesses or anything like that, because they know that the power is in numbers, and they know that the number of people that is against the minions of Washington, D.C. is growing daily, and they know they have to ramp up their progress at this point to get us squashed under their thumb. Georgia Guidestones. Go look at it. Search it out. They know this. Let me get to some of the articles if I can. I may not get to all of them, so my apologies for that. But the one article that I want to talk about is, and I'm going to form it in this question: why do other countries look at the United States of America and know that we are a police state, that we are a fascist socialist state? Why is it that our own people that live here, less than 25%, let me get specific, less than 25% deny it? Okay? I think the rest of us are very much aware of what's going on, and we're doing everything we can. My part, your part, whatever we can do to get the word out, to get the action, to be proactive, to get out there and defend our nation. I believe that we're doing it. Now, from the eventchronicle.com, I don't know how trustworthy that site is, but I'm going to read this. It was posted originally in March 5th, 2012 by Jean Haynes, Haines, Jean Haynes. And she writes, I have just been able to watch this through, and it was worth it to see some of the faces of the people in the audience, most notably Angela Merkel, Hillary Clinton, she says she thinks, and the best of all, Senator Joseph Lieberman. And in parentheses, she says, I'd like to send them each a case of toilet paper. Putin told the whole world what has been going on, and I doubt he would have said anything if they didn't have the situation well under control. Because the American people are so poorly informed, I can see how, as so many might watch this video, there's a video on the site, and not know what to think. They have been taught over and over again to fear the Russians, to fear Putin, to fear just about everything. I can also see, for instance, how a video like this could be edited and become very misleading, and my people would become even more terrified than they already are. While there's apparently not much we can do about that now, the change is upon us, hopefully, and we can cut them slack and support them and all the other folks around the planet who have been lied to and deceived. Clearly, they have been abused. To me, there is simply no other word for it. This is what Gene Haynes has said. Today, the thought went through my mind that much of America is going to suffer a collective nervous breakdown. I can also see this happening in many other places as well. But I dare speak only for my own country. We must support their healing. She goes on to say, the most accurate definition of abuse I have ever heard, very ideal, but nevertheless extremely accurate, is that abuse is the lack of love. That might be something on which to meditate. When you teach men, and now women, to kill, as in war, it does something to them. When they kill, it changes them irrevocably, and I doubt they ever get over it. I do not believe it is man's natural state to kill. In my opinion, in order for someone to kill, he must have been abused. As Gene Haynes says here, our men are coming home to try to build normal lives. People all over the planet will attempt to rebuild their lives into something that is normal. I'm firmly convinced that there will be a new healing modalities available to use to support this healing. Modalities that will not be brutal and nightmarish. We must help them heal and leave war behind. War, my family, is coming to an end, and very soon. There's 2 parts, 4-part video, each with Vladimir Putin talking, and you might want to check that out. Okay? And sorry, got a little something going on, and I'm typing at the same time. I can tell you right now that I don't like Russian President Vladimir Putin's politics, but I have to say he's correct. I have to say that when he looks at America and looks at our president and says, what he says about it and about this country, and he literally has told the American people, you better fight and defend your rights. He's right, folks. He's absolutely 100% correct. Why do we have to take, why do we have to use a foreign president, a declared enemy, a somewhat tenuous ally, at their word? Why must we listen to someone like that? Because they have a non-subjective view of America. He's been here. He's been to the White House. He's been on the East Lawn. He's been to New York. He's been to the UN. He knows literally this country probably better than most of us. Okay? Probably. Wouldn't say he does, but I would say probably. Vladimir Putin is right. Let me get on to the next article. I'm noticing I'm running out of time here. truthandaction.org is the site I want to go to. It's on Free America Radio Facebook page. New York Department of Homeland Security will pay you $500 to rat out fellow citizens buying legal goods. Excuse me. New York's Division of Homeland Security is posting signs on businesses to encourage people to snitch on fellow citizens who buy such things as MREs, meals ready to eat, ammunition, flashlights, match containers, gas masks, and other items deemed to be prepper in nature. In this video, a girl working at LZ Army Navy Supply Store in Auburn, New York, tells us how a state trooper put up a flyer in their window which encourages customers to call the New York State Terrorism Tips Line to report this quote-unquote suspicious activity under the as part of See Something, Say Something campaign. This is obviously nothing more than the beginning of this cultivation of average citizen snitches who will rat out on their fellow citizens. Despot governments have always needed snitches to help control the population. Now with technology the way it is, with our phones, computers, and even our dishwashers spying on us, David Petraeus, former CIA director, perhaps the need for snitches will be less, but it seems that the tyrannical government that's currently encroaching still feels the need for them. Yeah, it's a 2-minute, 43-second video you might want to check out. I want to put this out here right now. There's no way and nowhere you can go without being watched. Okay? There's no place you can go that you're not being watched. There's always a camera on you somewhere. And there's always somebody looking at you. Like I said, we were on vacation. We went to San Francisco. We walked around the Westfield Shopping Center. And we walked around some other places as well, you know, Embarcadero 1, 2, and 3, and you know, courtyards and stuff. I'm looking around. My eyes are constantly moving, okay? And I'm seeing cameras everywhere, okay? I'm seeing them everywhere. It's not just, you know, at the BART stations. It's not just at the, you know, other places. It's in malls. It's in these buildings, okay? They know. They know what you do, when you do it, why you do it. There it is. It's right there in front of you. And did it worry me a little bit? Not really. And I'll tell you why. Because I wasn't doing anything wrong. And they know it. I was an average, let's just say, tourist. We were walking on the street. We were on Market Street. We were on Bush Street. We were on Grant. We just walked all over the place. We're on Powell. We just walked all over the place. And I'm looking down and I'm looking at all these big, you know, access points. I'm just going to use that term, access points on the sidewalks, you know, by buildings. And you would look down inside, and it's like a good 10 to 15 foot depth underneath. And I'm thinking to myself, and I told Diana this too, Diana, the other host of the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. And I told her, I said, there's life underneath this street. There's life underneath this street. And we walked around, saw some other, you know, plazas and stuff like that, and we're looking. I've seen these entrances, you know, that you go down, the stairs go down to these doors that are down there, and I'm thinking to myself, obviously they don't have handles on the outside because it has something to do with, you know, what's going on down there. And I'm thinking to myself, if I can only get underground, there is a whole world that is totally separated from the world above. Okay? And there's stories about that. You can go on YouTube and look at, you know, underground, you know, the city underground, cities, you know, below, you know, I mean, people who live in cities below the cities, you know, that kind of. And literally, they have their own little cities, their own little enclaves down there. I mean, you know, last statistic I saw, there was over 1,000 people in one metropolitan city. I think it was New York or Chicago, one of the two, that were living below the city. They'd come out do their thing, beg, do this, whatever. Or even I even read some stories where people actually worked for a living but lived underground because they didn't want the apartment, they didn't want any of that. They wanted all their money because they couldn't live in an apartment. I think this was in New York. No, Las Vegas, Nevada. And they lived underground because what they were getting paid wasn't, enough to get them an apartment. It wasn't enough. So it's one of those things, folks. Everybody needs a fair market living wage, period, end of sentence, per region, because some regions you have a higher cost of living, some you have a lower cost of living, okay? And that's just, part of it. So, hey, folks, take about a couple of minutes here, and not even a couple of minutes, probably. I don't know. Anyway, I'll be back. This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce from the Free America Radio Network. Prepare yourself for the unexpected. Have an emergency food supply available when you need it. You never know when the next power outage or natural disaster will happen. Are you prepared when it does? Go to Free America Radio Network website and click on the Store tab and get your emergency food supply now. Go to freeamericaradio.us. A natural disaster could happen at any time. Be prepared. Go to freeamericaradio.us and click on the Store tab to get your emergency food supply today. That's freeamericaradio.us and click on the Store tab and prepare in case something happens. Listen to the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show, Friday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com. Hey, folks, welcome back. This is the Views Expressed podcast. My apologies again for not being live, but certain things come up that you just cannot avoid. So I got to go take care of those things after this podcast. So thank you for joining me. I appreciate that very, very much. You can email me at freeamericaradio@usa.com. That's freeamericaradio@usa.com. You can go to freeamericaradio.us. Go to the top of the page, if you would, and go to emergency food supply. You can get all your emergency food supplies there. And you not only help yourself and your family out, but you help out Free America Radio Network. So thank you very, very much. Appreciate that. Hey, let's get to another article because I've only got a few minutes left. It's going to be an hour show today, folks. From theblaze.com, news crew booted from state property for filming outside empty prison. Now people are wondering just what is going on there. Okay. Interesting, I'd like to know too. A news crew in Albany, New York was filming for a seemingly innocuous report about a historical site and just so happened to have a recently closed correctional facility in its background. What happened next had the reporter, videographer, and others wondering what the big deal was. WNYT-TV was on Mount McGregor filming near an empty correctional facility Thursday for a story about Grant Cottage, which is where President Ulysses S. Grant died of throat cancer 129 years ago. The news channel shot footage of a reenactment Wednesday and went back the next day for some more video. What happened when the crew was on the state property for this second time was all caught on camera with Mount McGregor Prison in the background. Quote, no filming, unquote, a corrections officer who identified himself as Lieutenant Dorn and would not give his first name told WNYT reporter Mark Mulholland. Quote, we're doing a story on Grant's cottage, unquote, Mulholland responded. The officer then alleged that Mulholland and his crew were not up there to film for Grant's anniversary, but for, quote-unquote, different purposes. See what happens when you presume, folks, or assume. He told them that they would have to leave the mountain altogether and not switch locations to Grant Cottage, as Mulholland proposed instead. Quote, you're telling us we can't visit a historic site, unquote, Mulholland said. Quote, no, you're going to have to run that through Albany, unquote, the officer responded, noting that they could visit but not film at Grant Cottage. Mulholland and the film crew tried to take their equipment to the historic site instead, but were met with another corrections officer who blocked their access. Quote, ironically, once there, we noticed a film crew presumably filming a movie on the grounds of the closed prison, unquote, Mulholland said. The Albany Times-Union reported that state officials wouldn't provide details on the production taking place. It is unclear if the guards were protecting the other film crew. When the reporter and his colleagues were leaving, they were met by state police who demanded they turn over the footage they had taken. Quote, if I'm a member of the public and I'm taking pictures of Grant's cottage and there's the facility right behind it, what would you do with it, unquote, Mulholland asked. He was told that if they knew the facility was in the background, those photos would be confiscated. After contacting several officials and news station leadership, the crew left with their footage intact. Quote, in more than 20 years in business, I've rarely encountered anything quite like this, unquote, Mulholland said. And there's a video there. In a statement made by WNYT after the confrontation of New York's Department of Corrections and Community Supervision said that the crew, quote, blatantly disregarded a state officer who informed them that they were trespassing. Department regulations state that photographs taken while on prison property require prior permission. This policy is for the safety of all staff, visitors, and prisoners, unquote. WNYT, though, pointed out that there were no prisoners on the site at the time because the facility was closed. Carlos Miller, who runs the blog Photography is Not a Crime, noted that there's not, quote, any law against recording a prison from a public road, unquote. The American Civil Liberties Union also reaffirms the right of people to take pictures or video on public property. The Post-Star said its own view that the news station is owed an apology from the state for the incident. Quote, we could understand Dorn's initial defense of state security when the TV crew was filming along the road just below the prison, except for one thing. Mount McGregor prison is empty, unquote, the newspaper wrote. Quote, the state is closing it. All the prisoners are gone. We wonder why Dorn and other prison officers were still present, and we assume getting paid. Without prisoners present, what are they doing? Unquote, the opinion continued. The Department of Corrections and Community Supervision did not immediately respond to the Blaze's request for comment on some of these questions. An article in the local Glen Falls Chronicle earlier this year also noted that 76 employees were still staffed at the facility without inmates. The newspaper was told by a department spokesman that, quote, it's a long decommissioning process, unquote. Well, I'm not going to go all conspiratorial on you, but I will. Keep a skeleton crew there to keep the lights on, keep the place clean, keep, whatever, you got to do to do what you got to do. And when martial law is implemented, shove people in there. It's pretty much it. Is that what's going to happen? I have no clue. Is it possible that something like that could happen? Oh, yeah. In a heartbeat. Okay? Free America Radio on Facebook from another article from The Blaze. Virginia officials get millions of dollars in bonuses under House-Senate agreement. And this is from Pete Kasperowitz. I don't know how to pronounce that, sorry. The other one was from, let me go give the name of that other article I read. News crew booted from state property for filming. Liz Klimas over at The Blaze. Thank you, Liz. Appreciate that. Thank you, Pete. For this one, VA officials excuse me, not Virginia's, sorry about that. VA officials will get millions of dollars in bonuses under House-Senate agreement. The House-Senate agreement on how to reform the broken Department of Veterans Affairs will let the VA hand out up to $360 million in bonuses to its employees each year, even though the House voted just 2 weeks ago to strip all VA bonuses through 2016. The compromise a bill announced Monday by the chairman of the House and Senate Veterans Affairs Committees said VA bonuses will be capped at $360 million annually for the next 10 years, but that cap is just 10% below the $400 million in bonuses the VA has distributed in recent fiscal years, and will allow up to $3.6 billion in bonuses to be awarded over the next decade. Folks, I don't know what is up with the VA, but they are the worst, most corrupt system and department on the face of this frickin' planet. Why do they need $3.6 billion? Can you say black projects, experimentation, yada, yada, yada? Yes, I know another conspiracy theory, but so far it's a theory. But it can probably be proven within the next week or so. Hint. Anyway, got a few minutes here. I just wanted to do an hour, so thank you very much. Appreciate that. Again, my apologies for not having a live show. Hang on just a second. A little water there for me. My apologies for not having a live show, but as I said, some unavoidable things have came up, and, well, you just got to take care of business. You know what I'm saying? You just got to do what you got to do. So, I want to thank you all for listening to this podcast. Tomorrow, let's just say, tomorrow, I'm sure to be live. Okay, I'm sure to be live. I don't anticipate anything coming up at the last minute, but I'm sure to be live. For any information that you like, I always post it on Free America Radio on Facebook. You can always go there. I didn't have time to really post anything up there today, so as far as why I'm not doing a live show, but hey, thank you anyway for listening. I appreciate that very, very much. I also want to get your take on the things that I talk about, either the articles or the things that I talk about personally. So please feel free. Email me at freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. There's just so much going on that you probably are aware of, and I'd like to hear about that too as well. Yes, so please email me, again, freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. I'm glad to be back from vacation, but yes, after being back for one day, I want to go again, man. But anyway, you guys like me. I honestly believe that you do. So you want to hear what I have to say. So I want to hear what you have to say. Again, freeamericaradio@usa.com. So go to freeamericaradio.us. Go to the sponsors page if you'd like to sponsor the show. And please ask me any questions you like about that. I'm more than happy to answer those for you. Or if you want to donate to Free America Radio Network, you can do that as well. Go to freeamericaradio.us, go to the bottom of the page, and you will see a donate button there as well as Bitcoin. Yes, I do take Bitcoin. There's a donate button there, a little small button says donate. Right underneath that, you got all your, ways you can donate. Right underneath that, you have a survival seed vault. Please click on that from mypatriotsupply.com and get all of your stuff there as well. Yes, please go and get as much emergency food supply as you want or as you can. And go to freeamericaradio.us, go to the top of the page, emergency food supply, and click on that. And that will definitely help you and your family, and it will help out Free America Radio Network as well. So tomorrow, again, if you want, if I am going to do a podcast and not a live show, I will let you know right there on Free America Radio on Facebook, and you will know exactly what's going on tomorrow. You can also go to Spreaker.com if you want to listen to the show on the road as you're traveling around and doing your thing as well. You can go to Spreaker.com to the bottom of the page, go to the right-hand side, and you'll see a whole bunch of apps that you can use on your personal communication devices. So there you go. Also, you can get me on iTunes. You can get me just everywhere. Just look it up, man. The best place to get to listen to the show, though, is at freeamericaradio.us. And yes, you can get that on your iPhones and iPads and all of that. So thank you. Appreciate that very much. And pass this show around to people. And let them know about Free America Radio Network. If you have a show or a blog or a website or whatever you do, if you would like me to promote that, promotions are free, by the way. If you want me to promote your show, I could do that. But if you're selling something within that promotion, yeah, that's called advertising. So that would kind of help you out and me out at the same time. That's a very good idea, huh? Go to Free America Radio and click on the sponsors page. Ask me any question you like about that. More than happy to answer. Anyway, I'll promote your show for free, and just send that information to, or your blog or your website. Just send it to freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. More than happy to promote your show as well. If you if you want me to, if you want, you can, as I said before, you can sponsor this show by doing one other thing as well. If you have a banner ad or a graphic or something for your show and for your product, whatever it is you're selling, please send that to me and I will put that on the website. Yes, if you have, all of the information, if you have all of that, if you're selling something, whatever, and you want to advertise on the website, you can do that. Send me the graphic with all of the pertinent information, and I will put that on the website at freeamericaradio.us. So, and that would be advertising. And, of course, go to freeamericaradio.us. Go to the sponsors page. Check it out. Again, if you have any questions whatsoever about the advertising, about anything about Free America Radio Network, please ask. Please ask. That's all you got to do. Just email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. More than happy to answer any question you have about that. So anyway, again, if you need, if I am going to be off tomorrow again or have a podcast up, it will be on, all that information will be on Free America Radio on Facebook. Free America Radio. Go check that out on Facebook. And I'm sure to be live tomorrow because I don't anticipate any last-minute changes coming up. So come join me tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on Free America Radio Network at freeamericaradio.us. Check things out as well. And yes, there's just so much going on. Things change every 5 minutes. So I try to stay on top of it as much as I possibly can. And I share that with you as well. So thank you for listening to the Views Expressed podcast. Again, my apologies for not being live today on this 4th of August, 2014. Last minute things pop up and I have to take care of them. So anyway, come join me tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on Free America Radio Network. And remember this, folks, there's always something to remember. Always. Now, pay attention here. Just check this out. Remember this. We, the people, have the power, for we are America.